Right, so on for part 2 of our drawing the male torso. So we're moving on. So we've done part 1, which was the front view, and here we go for the side view, which is a finished one. Do pause at any time for reference and for stages. So I'm just plodding through it fairly steadily, but if you need to pause any time, do so. But by all means, come back to this one, because this is like a master one. I've taken a bit more time over it. So back to the diagram. Now, your head, most heads are about a square. Now actually this one, I think, let's see, this one's very slightly more than a square. We'll take that into account. So this is a heavier head really. But I'm going to start with a square, so I'm going to use the ruler's width. Everything else is a ruler's width, and we'll crack on. So I'll do that shape there, and I'll guess a centre point. Something like that. So we're going to be aware that we're going to have a little shape. The back of the head is actually going to come further back, so I'm actually going to indicate that actually. So that's the centre. So we made a square, we made a centre. I'm going to do it all the way down, so let me just make sure it's lined up nicely. Something like that. Okay, so the back of his head is going to be slightly weighted to the back. So I'm going to make an egg and a ball. Now this is a falling egg. So the egg's falling back, a bit like that. And a big ball at the back there, something like that. So this is kind of a representation of a big skull, and it is a big skull. This one is a big man that we're using as reference. Something like that. So we need to work out, as we did before, we need to work out this top torso. Now we're not using a triangle this time, we're actually going to use a diamond shape, kind of. So we want a shape, so we want to find this point here. So it's under number 3, it's under line 3, so it's going to be somewhere around here, and it's slightly forward of this box, which is going to be where the face is. So it's going to be here. Can you see how far over that is? So if we just say round about that much ish, yeah, about that much. And so we're going to put a point about here and match that up with that there, like that. Then we want a point. Now we're going to come back to this clavicle point, so we'll use that again. We'll make a mark here, line that up to that clavicle. Might as well use the same ones. Like that. So we'll come in about this much, something like that. So you're going to end up, and you can use your ruler or something. You don't necessarily have to use a ruler all the time, just to make it crisper so you can see. So now we need to find the base point. So this is at 5.5. So if we guess 5.5, like that, and I'm going to just join that up. So we're making these geometric shapes, these triangles and lines and boxes and ellipses to try and make sense of the body. Now, on this other one, this comes out further. So whatever mark we've got there, this is more again. So how much is this? Well, I think it's about the size of your original, your square coming out from the back. So what we need to do, actually this is where 2 pencils comes in handy. So I'll take that mark like that. So you see I'm finger there, point of the pencil there, come to the edge of this center line and we'll put in a line there, but actually it's just going to be slightly below that. So I think, now is that, it does look too far back, that. Let's try that again. Well, it's like a third extra of that, so I think it'll be that. So okay, yeah, I was a bit far over. Okay, it's that much, so slightly out there. So let's mark that in. So it's round about there. Let's see how that looks. Now I still think it wants to come in a smidge more. I think that will do. So then we want to have a mark. So we're going to make some marks for the back of the neck. So it's going to come in very slightly. Well, I think it's going to come into about there. So just beyond the square. So if we have that coming in like that, and then just a little line coming down to about there, and I'm going to join this up about in that position there. Like that. So there's a bit of messing about, but I think I've got there. So again, if in doubt, compare these angles. So is that angle the same as that? It pretty much is, isn't it? Slightly out. Okay. So now we've got that. So that's, for the moment, that'll do for the torso. I know it looks a bit strange and diagrammatical, but that's the idea. So now, as we did with the first bit, we're going to do the legs. I'm going to start with the legs. So we're going to have a point round about here. So it's this point here we're looking for. So it's just about there. And then we're bringing it just short of line 7. Like that. We're making a kind of, again, a chicken breast shape, for want of a better description. I can't think of a better description. So there it is. And this is coming round to about there. So it's this point here, which is on about the halfway. Something like this. So it's a bit of a odd sort of a shape. Something like that. And then we want to get a kneecap shape, so it's coming quite a bit in. It's pretty much tucked in to the centre line and to number 7 line. It's actually coming just under number 7. Something like that. And then we want a further one. So this is notice the leg is actually coming backwards. It's to compensate for the weight of the body at this position. So we want this calf muscle. This is what this represents. And bringing that through. Something like that. So that's, there we go. And Right, we'll leave the feet for the moment. I think I've just gone slightly thick with that. But that's okay. So, arms this time. So we're going to start with the shoulder. So this shoulder is going to be level with this clavicle line. And it's going to be a fairly round ellipse. It's sitting on number 3. And it's coming round like that. And then we want a longer bicep. Coming round like that. And then we want another one for the forearm, which is coming slightly out of the triangle, the diamond. Okay, and then this line is going to come through and flute through. I'm using a lot of that word, fluting through, like a fluting glass, like a diminishing. Okay, so we've got the forearm, we've got most of the legs in. We need to look at the chest, I think, next. So we want to position, we'll start sort of here. We want to position going through like that, and then sort of round. So these diagrams are only sort of, they're pointing you in the right direction, really. And then this is pointing to the underarm, something like that. Then we want a position, so we're looking for this position here, so something like just wide of the diamond shape, and then a position around about here, and then we're just very slightly angled, something like that. So we've got the chest, we've got the arms, we've got the legs. The proportions are going pretty well. Now, one of the nicest things about the body is this line here. I always think, if you're looking at a side view or a back view even, it's this back line, but male or female, it's very nice. It's a very nice line. So we're trying to map that out now. So if we start round about this point here, I'm going to put in a few points. So we'll put in a point there, and a point there, point there, and a point there. And what we're trying to do is get this lovely, graceful line coming through, and then round the musculature like that. And then he needs some buttocks. Be an awful mess without buttocks. It's the lever. Okay, and a bit of a bulge. Now, we need to sort out some feet. Well, he needs a face. Oh, neck next. I'm just going to bring this line down and through. I'll have a little play with that later, that headline. And the face. I'll do the face last of all. So I think we'll look at feet now. So how far over do feet come? If we just, again, always handy to just, if you're sure about the head size, let's just look at how far, so it's that much more. So if we say roughly a third more of this half of the box. So if we say, I don't know, something like that. So again, it's this half and about a third extra. So that's roughly that. So put in a little line down here for where the big toe is going to go. So the big toe is going to come round like that, and then the heel pushing through, and so we're making a bit of a sock shape here, something like that. We'll fine tune it a bit later on. So I'll do it a bit sketchy and then get it a bit more clear later. I'll need this extra foot because otherwise it looks unbalanced. It doesn't look right without an extra foot. Like the second foot. So it's got feet to begin with. It could be better shaped, but we'll sort that out later. Now we want the idea of a mittens. So we can see I'm just producing sort of mitten shapes first of all. So I get the knuckle, which is here. So that's roughly on 5.5, which is there. So get the knuckle, pull that in, and then this is part of the palm of the hand, and then pulling this through this shape here, making a bit of a V shape and a bit of a thumb shape here, and divide that off into 4. Maybe indicate a big toe here. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but never mind. Okay, so we're getting there. We want to have a... Now we want to sort out the face. So much in the way that we did it before, let's start dividing it off. I'm going to get rid of these marks. I don't like them in the way. Okay. So we're going to have a halfway point. So bearing in mind, it bears some reference to that. So we're going to have a halfway point, which is for, if you remember, the eyes. So again, it's worth checking that. Yep, that's okay. Halfway, like that. And we want a way halfway between there. And this is for the nose. So the nose is coming out over here. Now I'm actually going to nick down a bit of extra chin. I'm going to steal a bit out of that box, just because it looks nice. But just for the moment, we'll go for we'll do another half, which is there, and then that's going to be a third of the way between those 2 points there. I'm going to nick a bit of extra for giving a bit of an extra chin. It's extra heroic look. So here we go, and putting in the nose. Like that, and a bit of a nostril shape, coming round like that, and then again do slow this one down and have a good look at it. A bit like that. And then the eyes are going to come in, so they're going to come in round about there, so there's maybe be slightly angled looking for the top of the eyelid, and then the eye will just sort of sit about there. I haven't put any brows in just yet, so let's put in a brow, something like that. Now this is kind of good, which is you've got this little brow ridge to come in, so a little nick in there, and this is coming round like that to the forehead. You want the brow line, the hairline, so it's that measurement from the brow to the nose, and it's going to be there. But his hair's flopping down, but that's the highest extent of the hair, like that. We haven't done the ears yet, actually, so the ears will be sitting over here. I've forgotten to do those. Something like that, on that centre line kind of thing. him a bit of a jaw. Let's have this chin just coming down a little bit more. Let's shape that head a little bit more. Right, I think we just about got it. I think he's a little bit more muscular. He's a bit more muscular than the first guy actually, but he'll certainly do. So I think we have it. So we'll leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed that and I hope you'll practice it. And eventually you won't have to do all this measuring. You'll just get a sense of what's correct and what isn't. So, okay, so there you go. I'm going to leave you with the better finished one. So there we go. Just if you need to concentrate on something, that's probably a better one to do. So I'll leave you with that and keep practicing, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks a lot.